Hi everyone, welcome to this webinar of an AMA with Pawfectly Made. My name is Arpita Ganesh. I'm the founder of Pawfectly Made. We started 2 years ago and we currently have about 1,000 plus pets eating our food on a daily basis. So I think the first question that everybody seemed to ask us was, why fresh food over dry food? So what you need to understand about dry food is that how is dry food made? Two is that as an example, would you give your human child Maggie every day, right? That is, I think, one of the biggest comparisons I can see. Now, talking about how dry food is made, since there are no regulatory authorities for pet food anywhere in the world, what goes into dry food is not regulated at all. So, dry food is essentially made with a whole bunch of uh, stuff that is discarded at a poultry or at a lamb farm. Example, their feathers, wings, ears, beaks, tails, etc. And when this happens, that is when they take all of this, whatever is, and it could be diseased birds as well, because, like I said, there is no authority or no regulatory factor there. So take all of this, they put it in, make it into a mulch, make it into a sort of a keema kind of thing. Add about 80% corn, and that's how you get the hardness for the pellets to happen. And that's when you get dry food pellets. Now, when they say 80%, 70% meat, is it really true? Is something that someone has to sort of understand and deep dive into. But I can assure you that from the tests that we have seen, it is definitely not 80%. And whatever 80% they talk about is not pure meat. It means everything from, like I said, beaks, tails, bones, diseased bird carcasses, leftover carcass, everything. So that is where dry food comes from. Fresh food, on the other hand, you know exactly what's going into it. You can see what's going into it. You know that it has been made, especially for your pet. You know that you can see the 70% meat in it. Also, like I said, would you feed your human child Maggie every day? No. So then why feed your poor pet, dry food every day? Because it is processed, because it is unhealthy in that sense, which is why fresh food. And moving to fresh food, I have 3 pets of my own. I've been feeding them fresh food for about 4 or 5 years now, and their health has been touchwood A class. Before we started on fresh food, I used to also give them dry food. We were going to the vet approximately every 3-4 months. Now we go approximately once a year just for their annual checkup, just to see that they are fine, and we get a clean bill of health. So I think that is where my confidence in fresh food came from, and why I started fresh pet food as well. Now, coming to the second question over here was that, how is our food made? So let me explain a little. First is that we are a subsidiary of Licious. So our meat quality is the quality that Licious serves. All our meat they are the only meat supplier we have currently. We do not have any other meat suppliers. We take our meat from them. It comes to us on a daily basis. We boil this meat, for about till it cooks, whether it's lamb, fish, chicken. We debone it, which is done manually at our end. And after we debone it, we put the meat aside. Then we chop up our vegetables, and our cooking starts at about 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning, so that we can start delivering by 8 a.m. And then the meat that is cooked and the vegetables are put together, or if there is rice to be added, then the rice is added together. All of this is cooked once again. Then it is blast chilled. Now, blast chilling is a very interesting concept where it's just the opposite of dehydrating. Where dehydration removes all your nutrients, blast chilling actually contains all your nutrients and cools down the food. So we blast chill it. Cold, it is packed into your customized packs. And like, if you are part of the Pawfectly family, you know that we customize your grams. If you're not, for people who are not, we customize your pack specifically for your pet. So no one pack is the same. It could be ranges from 100 grams all the way to about 2.5 kgs per pet as well. So this is what we do. It gets packed. After it gets packed, it gets put again into the refrigerator, where it is kept till the delivery people turn up. Our delivery partners come in with insulated boxes, and they carry ice packs inside their bags. Once in a while, what happens is that, because it is fresh food and because of the heat sometimes on the streets. Let's say we have one consolidated kitchen in Whitefield, going from Whitefield all the way, let's say, to Electronic City or Yelahanka. Sometimes the food may not remain cold, but 90% of the time the food remains cold, or at least at room temperature, which is perfectly fine. Because it has already been blasted, it holds on to the nutrients. And this is how you can keep the food for 7 days in the fridge, knowing that it will still remain fresh. And that is how our food is made. If you have any specific questions, you can type them out here. The third one is that, do vets recommend fresh food? Yes, very much so. I think over the years, we have all realized, including the vets, that fresh is always better. The reason for this is that you do get, while you get nutrients from your dry food has very high carbs. And these carbs are not good for your pets. They also have preservatives, they also have artificial flavoring, all of which can cause a lot of damage. If you have seen lately, you will realize that there are, most pets, there are 3 problems in India that pets suffer from maximum. One is obesity. So the worst part about dry food is you never know how much to give, especially when it comes to breeds like golden retrievers and labs who are hungry all the time. We feel poor thing and overfeed them. They get overweight. Because of their overweight, they usually get a hip dysplasia or arthritis. So those become 2 problems. The third problem we see is a lot of kidney problems in pets, renal problems. And this is because there is so much carb and there is so much preservative in the dry food. So vets are moving and recommending fresh food. The other good part about fresh food is that you can decide how much protein goes into it. In all our Pawfectly Made meals, we have close to 70% meat, and the rest of it is either 20% rice or 10% veggies, or it's 30% veggies, or it's 20% veggies, 10% seeds that we use. So it's always 70% is what we keep as a measure. And that is what most dogs and cats need, because if you look at them in their original environment, they are carnivores and they do need that kind of protein. They are not going to go and eat rice from the rice fields, right? They are going to eat meat, which is their main diet. And that's why switching back to fresh food where meat is 70% is what fresh food is doing for you, right? The third question we got was, this was the third. The fourth question we got was, of course, why is fresh food more expensive than dry food? Like I said, one, the kind of protein that goes into it, right? In our food especially, we use only premium cuts. We use only organic meat. We do not use any wasted food, thrown away meat. Anything that's going to go to the garbage is not what we use. We use absolutely clean, what we would eat. And that's why we continuously say human grade. In fact, our chefs are made to taste the meals they cook on a random approximate base, because we want them to know that, we don't want anyone to get lax saying, acha, it's made for dogs and cats, so we can get lax on it. So that's why we continuously tell our chefs to taste the food. So it's that human grade. So meat is that grade. And that meat is expensive, right? And if it makes up 70% of that food, then definitely the food is going to be slightly more expensive than your dry food. The other thing about fresh food and why it might be expensive is that we also use premium vegetables. We use sweet potato, broccoli, all expensive, apples, pumpkin. We use chia seeds, flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, again, all very expensive. All our food is organic. Anything that goes into our food is organic. We use organic atta to make our treats. We use organic honey. We use organic brown rice that goes into our meat, into our food. So everything that we do is also organic, and everyone knows that organic is slightly more expensive. The other thing is that we also pack it and send it to your home, right? And if we all know how petrol prices have gone up, and that's why it gets a little more expensive, because as a business, we also need to think about all those things. So that's why fresh will be more expensive. But when you look at it on an overall basis, what you will also realize is that it's cheaper than going to the vet every 3 months. So I think switching to fresh food, that's why it makes a lot more sense, right? Now we have one more question here, which talks about vegetarian food. I'm vegetarian. But as a pet parent, I don't believe that my pets should eat vegetarian food just because I'm vegetarian, because they are carnivores by nature, both cats and dogs, and they do need that kind of nutrition from proteins which vegetarian food cannot give. I hear a lot of people say we've been feeding our pet curd rice and the pet is fine. You're lucky, but is that really fair to the pet? Is my question that I ask. All of this said, we are still working on doing something for the vegetarians, maybe in a plant-based meat. Let's see, we're trying to work it out. But as a recommendation, I would not recommend. We understand that you have vegetarian houses where you can't keep vegetarian food. We would suggest rent a small little fridge. You get it for about 300 rupees a month. Put the pet's food in that for so that it doesn't interfere with your vegetarian lifestyle, etc. But please do feed your pets. And with our food, you don't even have to touch it. You just have to open the pack and pour it out. So you really should think about a non-veg option, because all dogs and cats deserve to eat non-vegetarian food. That's very, very important, right? Now we have one more question here which talks about rotating meat every month. Yes, you could either rotate meat every month, or you could rotate it even during the week. It doesn't matter. You can rotate, like we offer lamb, fish and chicken, right? And you could take, let's say, 2 recipes of fish, 2 recipes of lamb and 3 recipes of chicken. And that's how you can make your meat. The more you get your pet used to one certain meat, the higher the chances of that pet actually getting allergic to that meat increase. And pets can suddenly get allergic to certain meats that they've been used to. So please keep this in mind. Rotating meats is very, very important. And you don't have to do it monthly. You can do it on a daily basis as well, right? So you can do that. Now, omega-3, omega-6, this is another question we have. Do we need omega-3 and omega-6? If you add enough amount of fish recipes to your weekly subscription with Pawfectly, you do not need to add omega-3 and omega-6. But if your pet is allergic to fish and you do not take fish from us, then definitely you need to add this. We don't add it on our own because we cater to like I said, 1,000 plus pets. And at that point in time, we don't want to overdo anything in anyone's food, which is why we don't add supplements at our end. So you can definitely, if your pet is not allergic, add 3 days of fish to your recipes, and that should be perfectly fine for the dog's requirement of omega-3 and omega-6. Is ginger good for your dog? Very, very, very limited quantities of ginger is good for your dog. Genuinely, they don't need ginger in their meals. Like I said, think about them in their original habitat where they will not dig and find meat or ginger, right? They will go and eat meat. So the more meat you feed your dog, that's better. You can add a little bit of ginger. Ginger is good, but not really like... if they don't get it, will anything happen to them? No. Adding it, will it enhance something? Slightly, not much. So that is about the ginger. I have one more question here about a picky eater who doesn't eat food, and what do we do for that? When you have a pet which is a picky eater, you have to try multiple different kinds of recipes and at multiple different times. So let's say your pet is used to eating food at a certain hour. Make it about an hour later than that and serve your pet different recipes. Your pet will at some point like a recipe, not like a recipe. But if your pet is really, really like cats especially, once cats are used to their dry food, it's very, very, very hard to move them to wet food. It becomes very, very tough to move them to wet food. So there are picky pets. Sometimes you can try, sometimes you can't. But the best way to get them to try your food, to try fresh food, will be to give them different recipes every day and see which ones they take to. So that definitely you can do. Right. Now there is one question which has come. Why can't we completely move immediately from whatever we are feeding the pet to Pawfectly Made meals? Why is there a transition? There is a transition because it takes a lot of time for your pet's stomach to adjust to what it was eating earlier to move to fresh food. Now, let's say they have a high carb diet. You've been giving them, a 50%, even if you're giving them home food, 50% rice and 50% chicken kind of diet. Suddenly, to move them from that high carb to high protein, and this will happen even to humans, right? Will make them a little bit, will upset their stomach, which is why we slowly say, oh, take a time, take over a week to slowly get them used to higher protein, lesser carb, and then move them. So and that's what happens. Sometimes people think, oh, nothing's going to happen, and feed them a whole packet of our food, and next day the dog falls sick. And we don't want that, right? So which is why we say very slow transition from whatever you're feeding the pet, unless it's a high protein diet already, where you make 70% meat at home, or you're taking meat from someone else and you make that, then it's perfectly fine. Yeah. Next question that we have here is which regulation and nutrition philosophy? Like I mentioned, there are no regulatory authorities, nothing for pet food. What we do is we test all our recipes at a certified pet food testing center. All our recipes are certified, and the certification says that they are very fit for pets to eat. Besides that, the nutrition value that we follow is that they need to eat what they would eat in their natural surroundings, which is meat mostly, some veggies, some fruits, but mostly meat. And that is what we follow as a philosophy. Talking a little more about what we do with our food and why we believe in this food and what has happened over the years. When your meat quality is so good, right, automatically it affects the health of the pet because it's eating that much. Eating our food will also mean that the poop quantity of your pet reduces dramatically. And this is because when they poop, they are pooping out all the carbs that you give them in large quantity. But when they eat our food, they are pooping out only what is left over, which is hardly any carbs. And that is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. We get a lot of questions that say that, oh my God, my dog is not pooping enough. No, your dog is pooping perfectly fine because it is now used to, its body is now absorbing everything and only throwing out a little bit of waste because the food itself is so good. A couple of things that we also do, if you follow us on YouTube, Instagram, etc., is we tell you what to give and what not to give your pet. We have this, if you've filled out your pet's profile, you'll see that is your pet allergic to. And here are some of the things that have come up for us. Green chilies, pickle. No, dogs and cats cannot eat pickles and green chilies. Please do not feed these things to your pets, right? There are do's and don'ts of what you can feed your pet and what you can't feed your pet. So please stick to those things. A couple of things that are really, really harmful for your pet. Chocolate is one of the biggest of them. The second is in fruits, please don't give pomegranate. Please don't give pineapple. These are two fruits which are very, very harmful. Off the top of my mind, I can think of that are very harmful for your pets. Please don't give them regular potato. That is very harmful for them. No onions, no garlic. Very, very important to know that no onions, no garlic. Okay, let me tell you why we started. So I have 3 pets and 3 of them have different needs in terms of quantity, in terms of type of recipes, in terms of their age group. One is 2 years old, one is 6 years old, one is 11 years old. And when I started before I started Pawfectly, I was cooking separately for them. And everything had to be measured separately. Everything had to be put. So I had a separate fridge for only their food, right? And what happens there is that's what taught me that if, especially during COVID, where we were cooking for ourselves and had to cook for the pets, we realized that somebody should help us out and do this for us, where they also customize the quantities that we feed our pets. And when we did this is when it became so much easier for a lot of pet parents. And the idea came from saying that, hey, can we make pet parents' lives easier and make fresh food easier for them to give to their pets? And that's how this whole idea began. And from day one, we have kept to the fact that we wanted to make sure that it is human grade, because my pets obviously eat the food that comes from Perfectly Made. So all our recipes are tried on my pets first and then put out. I know my team does not know when the food is being sent for my pets because we do it under different names. So we know that quality check is put in place because the food comes to my house. It comes, I change recipes on a regular basis. So that is how I personally keep a check on what happens inside of, the kitchen that we have. We have a state of the art 1,000 square foot kitchen in Whitefield. We started out with about 400 square feet. We are now at 1,000. We are now looking to move to a 4,000 square foot kitchen. Like I said, we are also associated with Licious. Licious has not only invested in us, they're also our only supplier for meat at the moment. That's from me. I have one more question. Okay. You have a retriever at home and 2 meals are not enough. So you also give them snacks. So one is that retrievers are forever hungry. So please do not overfeed them. We have a tendency to be very Indian mums and say, oh, mera bachcha zyada khana kha le, but let's not do that, especially retrievers, because they start getting arthritis very quickly. So even if you want to give them snacks, there are a couple of things you can give. If your pet and it's a retriever, you can give them carrot sticks, you can give them cucumber, you can give them watermelon, you can give them, we have popsies, which is actually very interesting. It's actually broth, which is frozen into bite sizes. You could give them popsies. You can give them Marie biscuits. You can give them art treats. You can give them little bit of cheese. Cheese is good for them. So a whole bunch of things that they can eat. And we could have, I think team has shared our YouTube video as well, what dogs can eat and can't eat. But the more fiber you give them, the better it will be for them. How do I know if my dog will like the recipe and which one I should choose? Okay. So we help you here as well. What we do is that when you create a profile for your pet on our website, we also actually give you a recommendation of recipes you should try out for your pet. Considering we have 11 recipes, what you could do is that when you start out your pet, you'll start with a trial pack, take 3. Then you move to a weekly pack where you take 7 different ones. So that's totally 10 that you've covered. And then there's 1 which is left. You'll realize from the 10 what type of recipes your pet enjoys. Is it with grain, without grain, eggs, no eggs, all of that. One more thing is that we put eggshells in our food purely because eggshells are the highest source of calcium that your pet can get. And this I have seen firsthand because one of my pets had a huge hip dysplasia and arthritis problem, and we were giving her supplements. Instead of that, we started crushing eggshells and giving her, and today she climbs my 1.5 feet bed without any problems. So it is very, very good source of calcium, and we do add eggshells for that one reason alone. So choosing a recipe, let them try all the recipes we have. You'll realize which ones they like. They will also have preferences of which meats suit them. They will decide. Pets are super smart. They smell, they taste. They also, like us, have preferences. So you will know. There will be some recipes they will reject, maybe because they don't like the vegetable in that recipe. Maybe they don't like grains. So it is up to your pet. Your pet is just like a human when it comes to making a choice. So please let them try all our 11 recipes before deciding which ones you should select and continue with for your subscription. Our food is safe for a cat with inflammatory bowel diseases, but if your cat has been used to dry food or gravy food in packs, our food may mess with your cat's bowel disease. You'll have to gently, slowly, and cats, like I said, are extremely fussy eaters. So you will have to be very, very, very careful when you switch them to our food. They will not take to our food easily, that I can assure you. But if they do, then that will ease up this for them, definitely. We write out what we put in every recipe in our recipes page. It is 100% grain-free. We have only, I think, 3 recipes, 1 chicken, 1 lamb, and 1 fish that use grains, and the grain we use is organic brown rice. None of the others have any grain, not even one grain of rice in them or 1 speck of wheat in them. There you go. You can check out all the recipes here. 100% be rest assured. In fact, we welcome you if you would like to come and do a visit at our kitchen. Please write to us at woofsandpurs@perfectlymade.com. We can arrange a visit for you of our facility. You can come, take a look. We are very happy to have. In fact, we've had few pet parents drop by, take a look, be impressed with how we keep our kitchen and how we cook the food. So we are as transparent as possible. No grays at our end. Any other questions that anyone might have? Anything else that you would like us to cover? Great. I hope we've covered a little bit and explained a little bit more in detail about our food and what happens at our end. And I hope you enjoyed, being with us for this AMA. And thank you so much. And thank you so much, Priya, for saying your pets love our food. We are so happy to hear this all the time. Soonly we will expand. Thank you, Anita. Thanks so much. And we will expand soon. Like I said, we are looking for a larger kitchen. As we speak, we are also looking at options where we don't have to keep the food in the fridge, but that is not a fresh food option. That's more a packaged food option, but that will work when you're traveling or when you put your pet in the boarding when you're traveling, things like that. So we are, as you've seen over the past 3 months, I think we've launched 3 new products. We've launched a gelato, we launched Popsies. We will be launching a lot of things soon. So continue with us and we'll make sure that your pet stays healthy and happy. Yeah. Thank you guys. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.